Okay, thank you. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kovania Naidoo, and I'm from the University of South Africa in South Africa. And today I will be presenting the topic, investigating and mapping out the food environments within predominantly Indian communities in the city of Durban in South Africa. Obesity is a complex disorder categorized by an irregular or excessive fat buildup. In 2016, the World Health Organization reported that worldwide there was an estimated 13% of adults and 13% of adults that were obese and 39% that were overweight. In that same year, so the South African Demographic and Health Survey reported that 68% of adult women and 31% of adult men in South Africa were found to be overweight or obese. Obesity has significant health and economic implications. In terms of health, it can affect an individual's quality of life, their immediate health, and their long-term health. And in terms of its economic implications, for example, in South Africa, between 2006 and 2015, the accrued losses to South Africa's GDP from heart disease, diabetes, and strokes alone were estimated at 1.88 billion US dollars. There are several models that researchers use to understand the causes of obesity. This research used an adapted version of Bronfenbrenner's 6Cs model with specific focus on the community and cultural elements within the context of South Africa. The community environment in which an individual lives plays a significant role in determining their energy consumption and expenditure, thereby impacting the predominance of obesity. An obesogenic food environment stimulates food intake beyond the energy expenditure requirement, which leads to weight gain and thus obesity. And an individual's culture and their cultural food environment also plays a significant role in their food choices and their eating habits. For example, it impacts an individual's body image perception, their willingness and desirability to lose or gain weight, the foods they are exposed to, their behaviors and attitudes towards food and physical activity, all of which impacts their health and predisposition to obesity. In South Africa specifically, it is known as a multicultural country and is often referred to as the Rainbow Nation. Its cultural diversity stems from numerous aspects, including race, religion, and language, which results in varying beliefs, customs, traditions, and eating habits, and thereby creating different food environments. Each of these environments need to be measured independently of each other to understand the complete picture of how culture impacts the food environment of South Africa. In the last 5 years, numerous studies have been conducted with regards to the food environment, specifically on the Black community, and some have mentioned other races. However, there is currently limited information available on the prevalence of obesity amongst the South African Indian population and the food environments of Indian communities. I actually only came across a single study in the past 5 years based on the Indian population in KZN or KwaZulu-Natal. Therefore, the aim of the study was to investigate and map out the obesogenic food environment within predominantly Indian communities in Durban. The first objective was to examine the MRFEI, or Modified Retail Food Environment Index, of the formal food environment in terms of healthy and less healthy food outlets within these Indian communities using graphical information systems. The second objective was to visually map out the density of healthy and less healthy formal food outlets within these communities using GIS and kernel density maps. So in this slide, you see a photo of a part of KwaZulu-Natal, highlighting the predominantly Indian communities. So Tongaat, Verulam, and Chatsworth were chosen as they are the four largest predominantly Indian communities, mostly due to its past of the British bringing in indentured laborers from India to work on sugarcane plantation, and due to the Group Areas Act. The design of the study, in the design of the study, we used, the data was gathered using Google Earth and analyzed with graphical information systems to determine the MRFEI. The kernel density maps were calculated using ESRI's ArcGIS program of each area. And these maps were showed in the form of a heat map that visually point out the density of either healthy or less healthy food environments. The MRFEI measures the number of healthy formal food outlets out of the total number of outlets. The definition of healthy and less healthy was based on the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC's definition, which states that healthy food outlets include grocery stores and supermarkets, and less healthy outlets include fast food restaurants. From the total number of food outlets in an area considered healthy or less healthy, the MRFEI represents the percentage that are healthy. The MRFEI score can be categorized into one of three categories. The first category is of 0, which represents 0 healthy outlets. Category 2, which can be considered unhealthy. Category 2 is 1 to 27 healthy outlets, which is an intermediary between unhealthy and between healthy and less healthy environments. And category 3, 28 to 100 healthy food outlets, which can be considered a healthy food environment. So in these kernel density maps, the black lines represent the boundary of each town. The green dots represent where the healthy food outlets are, and the heat maps represent the density of the fast food outlets. So in the kernel density map of Tongaat and Verulam, both had a similar pattern in that they showed that the fast food outlets and the grocery stores were more abundant in the commercial areas of the town, and whereas there were mainly grocery stores in the more residential areas. Phoenix followed the same pattern, except that it had a higher number of both grocery stores and fast food outlets due to it being a larger community. And Chatsworth followed the same pattern. However, unlike the other three, it had more grocery stores than fast food outlets, and they are also more widely spread throughout the community. In this table here, for each community is the total of the healthy and the less healthy outlets. It sums them up and then calculates the MRFEI scores. So as you can see, all 4 communities fell into category 3, which means all 4 communities are healthy food environments. So in all 4 communities were shown to have a healthy environment. Tongaat was found to be the healthiest, followed by Chatsworth, Verulam, and then Phoenix. However, in the single study by Nika and colleagues that we had came across based on 250 Indian adults from KZN, they found that 89% of them were in an unhealthy range. They had observed that it is possibly due to household preparation and cooking methods rather than the food environment. For example, Indian households are known to use a high amount of saturated fats, deep fried food which have a high salt content and a high sugar content in both their curries and their snacks. The main contribution of the study is that it adds to the body of knowledge surrounding food environments in Indian communities in Durban. And the two limitations are that the findings may only apply to Durban and may not be accurately applied to other communities. And it also took into account only the formal food environment and did not account for the informal food environment, which may play a significant role and the Indian health status. In conclusion, despite the high incidence of obesity amongst Indians in KwaZulu-Natal, all the food environments of all four predominantly Indian communities were found to be healthy based on the MRFEI scores. This shows that obesity is a complex multifactorial condition that must be investigated and understood in the context of the individual, household, community, and country contexts. There's currently limited research available on the South African Indian diet and health status, and more studies are required to draw more accurate conclusions on the Indian population of Durban and of South Africa as a whole. Thank you.